Welcome back. It's Mr. Frederick, mathematician and math guy, returning to show another video about dividing fractions. We talked about last time about multiplying fractions. Now we're going to talk about how to divide fractions, which requires 3 simple steps, but are steps that most students have trouble understanding and getting confused about. So I'm going to explain those step by step so that any confusion could be clear and clarified. Okay, so I'm going to present you this problem: 1/3 divided by a half. Now the thing is, when you divide fractions, the first thing you have to always understand is that there's a 3-step procedure to do it. First, the number in your left, or if you put it this way, another way to write this is 1/3 divided by a half. It's the same as you write like this: 1/3. And you're going to see some textbooks or in certain classrooms, they put this line which represents the division. Alright. This represents that you're dividing. So I just put that in, abbreviated it. And you put the second fraction in the bottom, a half, like that. So it's 1/3 divided by a half. Okay? So, step by step. The first thing you got to do is, in fractions, even though it says that you're dividing fractions, you actually have to change it to a multiplication so that you can actually multiply it. Okay? Basically, because when you're dividing fractions, fractions are already divided already. So you're not really, it's like you have to change it to a multiplication setting so that's easier for you to solve it. Let me give you an example. Here you have 1/3 divided by a half. So here what you're actually writing is the first problem, the first fraction, you leave it the same way. Step number 1, leave the first fraction alone. Just recopy and bring it down. Second step, put the opposite operation of division. So the opposite of division is multiplication. Third step, a half. Here, for this third step, you need to flip it or do the reciprocal of that fraction. So 1/2 is the same as 2/1. So you see how 1 is on top and 2 is in the bottom? When you do the reciprocal, of this, you're flipping it. Whatever is your denominator becomes your numerator, and whatever is your numerator becomes the new denominator. And then you solve it. Now 1/3 times 2/1 is much more simpler to solve now. So when you do that, we erase this to avoid confusion and put this over here. So 1 times 2 is 2. 3 times 1 is 3. And that'll be your answer. Okay? I'm gonna show you another one right here. So let me give you another problem right here to clarify and make sure that it's well understood. Okay? So say we have another problem like this. Say you have 2/3 divided by 4/5. Typical problem, right? Step number 1, what we do again? First, you leave the first fraction alone. So I'll bring this 2/3 down. Second, I'll change this to the opposite operation. So the opposite of division is multiplication. Third step, so this is 1, 2, and this is going to be 3. The third step, you do the reciprocal. You write that down, reciprocal. You do the reciprocal of 4/5. So whatever's on the top goes on the bottom. So the 4 goes on the bottom now. And whatever's on the bottom, which is the denominator, becomes the new numerator. So the 5 goes on top now. And now you solve. So 2 times 5 is equal to 10. Put that line in the bottom. And 3 times 4 is equal to 12. So can we simplify this further? Yes, we can. They both are divisible by 2. So 10/12, when you divide them both by 2, is equal to 10 divided by 2 is 5. And 12 divided by 2 is 6. So your final answer is 5 over 6. So I'll recap. Number 1, when you're dividing fractions, the first thing you have to understand is that the problem on your left, or the first fraction, you have to leave it the way it is. Recopy it over first. Second, the operation in the middle. When it's division, you must turn it to the opposite operation, which is multiplication, always. Third, the second fraction, you must do the reciprocal, or flip both numbers. Flip the numerator so it could become the denominator, and flip the denominator so it could become the new numerator. So in this case, I have 4 over 5. Now, since I flipped it, it becomes 5 over 4. And now when you have that set up, just multiply across, and you get your answer. And if your answer is like this, like the case of mine, 10 over 12, and you see that it can be simplified, which I did here, which is 5 over 6. If you cannot simplify it, then you could leave it alone, and that's fine. Okay? That's it for dividing fractions. Hope this is helpful and useful for y'all. And just don't forget, subscribe, like, and share so that more people and more students can learn more. Okay? Take care. Till next time.